All right, we are now moving on to our third chunk of this lesson, which covers questions 8 and 9. There were two things on the previous slide. It says, here are the number lines graphs of two different inequalities, x less than 3 and x greater than or equal to -2. Number 8, use the graphic organizer to compare and contrast the two inequalities and graphs that are shown above. So, let's take a look at some of the things that are similar here. Well, if you look long and hard, we have the same numbers being covered on both number lines. So we could put things like the number lines are the same length and cover the same numbers. Let's see what else we can find here. Whoa, look at this. If I look here, I got -2 in this one, right? And I got -1 and 0 and 1 and 2. I don't have 3, but I have up to 3 because if you look, that's an open circle where this one is closed. So I have the values, some of the same values are bolded in both. Ooh, sorry. The lines cover some of the same numbers, meaning they are solutions. Okay. And lastly, they both cover a range of numbers. It's not just one answer. Both cover a range of numbers. Let's take a look at some of their differences. What do you notice about this one? The arrow's pointing to the left, to the lower numbers, right? Whereas this one, the arrow is pointing to the right. So we got them going in different directions. Another good point was the one I said earlier. This one was open, whereas this one was closed. One graph contained an open circle, while the other contained a closed circle. If I'm looking at the inequalities, one inequality is less than, while the other is greater than. One symbol contains equal to, while the other does not. Now, these are not the only ones. You possibly could have come up with more. You might not have come up with all of them, okay? But these are some of the key features that we should have pegged, okay? Let's move on to question number 9. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. Make sure you have a little bit of extra time to write that up, okay? So number 9 says, think about why the graphs are different. Why is one of the graphs showing a solid ray going to the left and the other is showing a solid ray going to the right? What might be the reasoning there? Well, let's take a look. This one is showing our ray going to the left. Read that inequality. That inequality says x less than 3. Well, all the numbers on the number line going to the left are smaller than 3. So, graph 1 shows a ray going to the left, okay, because those are the numbers less than 3, where as graph 2 shows a ray going to the right, because those are the numbers greater than -2. Part B. Why does one graph have an open circle and the other graph has a filled in or a closed circle will be the other phrase you hear here. So just so you know, filled in can also be said as closed, okay? Because earlier I said that that one was closed. Well, what do we notice about the inequality here? It just says x less than 3, whereas this one says x greater than or equal to -2. So graph 1 is an open circle because the inequality does not say equal to. Equal to. Whereas graph 2 is a filled in or closed circle because the inequality says equal to. On to your final debriefing.